Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel that I very rarely post on in a sort of candid fashion as I am doing right now. But today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for a bit, and I kind of had an experience today where it felt like the right time to kind of bring it up. So today I finished writing a feature-length screenplay that I've been working on for a couple months. It is the second feature screenplay that I have written this year, on top of having finished an album that's actually coming out tomorrow, by the way. If you want to check it out, I'll put a link up here. And on top of that, also, several pretty successful short film productions. Some of those short films are currently out right now on my YouTube channel, and the others are currently in post or have plans for festivals or things like that. But what is this video really about? I am feeling pretty proud of these things when I look back. I think it's really important to be able to look back on your work as an artist frequently and kind of just see where you've been and how far you've gotten. It really helps me, at least, to put things into perspective and figure out, especially when I'm feeling down about myself, I can look back and say, oh shit, I've done quite a bit, and that's pretty cool. That's kind of what I want to talk to you about a little bit more, is how to kind of learn to feel good about the art that you've made, feeling pride in that sort of thing. So I think the way that I need to ground this is by kind of putting into perspective where we exist as a culture and the way that we interact with art, because it's a lot different than it was, say, 20, 30, 50 years ago. And I'm not some old head to be like, oh, it should be the way that it was back in the fucking 50s or whatever. I think that social media and a lot of digital tools have honestly really upped the game in terms of DIY and independent artists being able to reach a wide audience with constructive marketing, and also just the sheer access to amazing tools and resources that allow us as artists to create pretty uninhibitedly. Uninhibited, that can't be a word, right? But for instance, I am one of those people who really believes that you can make something wonderful and amazing on this very device that's in my hand right now, this iPhone. And you don't need an Ari Alexa to make a masterpiece. You can do it with, your friends and whatever equipment you have immediately at your disposal. And with music, the same thing goes for that as well. There's amazing free programs that you can find online, just make stuff for fun right on your laptop. Pretty much that's what I've done. My albums have really never cost anything to make besides, the immediate expenses of paying for a guitar, but that's just because I wanted a guitar beyond that. I wouldn't really factor that into the cost of recording an album anyway. Our notions of success as artists in the modern age is way too hung up on very Western conceptions of what success means in a purely industrial sense. And this goes across the board for pretty much any industry in the Western world, where our ideas of success are pretty much based fundamentally on things like money, material wealth, those kinds of interests. And for artists, that can be good for actual career ambitions and wanting to make a living. And I understand that conflict at the core. I myself have to work a food service job in order to pay my bills, while also trying to make something full of myself as an artist to sustain myself someday, which is why I just keep creating. But this kind of Western thinking also creates a new media landscape that is defined pretty much by influencers and content creators versus people who are merely consumers, not people who appreciate art, but people who just want to be fed some kind of stimuli and are part of a base demographic that is being marketed to and pandered to and essentially being exploited for the fact that we can't sit still for 5 seconds anymore. What I am trying to get at is, with every project I have done, especially over the last year, it has really come into fruition that those ideas of success, those things like money, fame, fortune, material interests, they don't make you happy, for one, and they also make your art, I think, a little bit worse, because you stop being honest, you stop being authentically yourself in the stories that you create when you start trying to pander towards a certain audience and only think about the thing that you're creating as something to get a bunch of YouTube views, as something to get a bunch of likes on Instagram. You don't need money or, even significant attention on your art to feel proud of it. That's kind of what I've learned the most about in my several years doing this, because I still struggle to find an audience for my art. And sometimes I market the shit out of something that I've made and I'll post about it on Instagram relentlessly. But that doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to create a new audience by doing that. A lot of the people who still regularly watch what I make are my friends and family. And I'm sure that's a reality that a lot of you other DIY and independent creators out there also face. And it feels like it kind of sucks. It's like, oh, my mom watched my video again. It's like, I don't want my mom to be watching my video. I want, 500 other people who understand exactly what I'm doing to come across my video and understand it. And then, maybe they'll give me money to make my next project. But I kind of have to stop myself when I get into that mindset. And I have to remind myself that there is not only a joy in creating things, that we live in a very joyous profession, or just a hobby if that's what you prefer to call it. Doesn't matter. And on top of there being a joy to it, there's also the fundamental idea that we as human beings are the only creatures on this planet, and this is crazy to me, we are the only creatures on this planet that are able to not only create art, but be able to engage with it on a critical level. Sure, a chimpanzee could probably make a drawing of a banana or something like that, but we are the only organisms on this planet that have the capability to tell stories in the way that we do through these artistic mediums. Things like filmmaking and writing and painting and music. We have so many outlets that we have to be creative through, and there is such a sense of liberation and individualism that we can find in that. I truly believe that most great art somehow is challenging some kind of status quo, because in a sense, creating art in your own ways, unperturbed by the massive, horrible world that surrounds us and all that information that's trying to feed into our face all the time of what we need to buy and what we need to consume. Once we kind of tune that out and we just make art for the fuck of it, really, we make some of the most honest, sincere creations, and we are basically making a statement of individual agency that is going against all what every power system stands for. But suffice it to say, the tools are more accessible than ever. There is a fundamental joy to creating things, and humans are the only ones who can create things in the capacity that we do. I think we have to remind ourselves of these things when we're feeling down, when we're feeling that imposter syndrome, when we're feeling unmotivated to create things. And that is a process to be enjoyed, not a result. It has nothing to do with the money. It has nothing to do with the fortune. None of those extravagant ideals that you've been sold so many times in your life that you need to be successful. Because you are successful as an artist just by the sheer act of creating anything. It doesn't have to be the most amazing thing in the world. It doesn't have to be the most original thing in the world. It can be an homage to your favorite artists. But the sheer act of creating something is a statement in and of itself, and it is a statement to be proud of. So with all that said, I am proud of the feature screenplay that I just wrote, and I am proud of the album that I have releasing tomorrow, which you should listen to. And I am really proud of the fact that I'm going to keep creating until somebody fucking shoots me dead, I guess. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to say with this video, I guess. And I don't know if it's going to reach anyone beyond my friends and family. But if it does, keep creating. Don't stop. Your art is worth more than you'll ever know, regardless of how many people consume it, regardless of how many people like and comment and share it. We're all in this together, and this is a world and a community run by artists, people, your average, everyday people with amazing things to say, amazing stories to tell. And I apologize if my thoughts have been very scattered, but I'm very amped up about this, and I hope you are too. So my parting words are, go create and enjoy it. Bye-bye now.